Well, hello, beauty. I'm coming to you now to just talk about something that sort of stuck with me the other day. I was reading an email that came through, and I thought, oh, is this something that I can talk about to teach you? Because it's where we can often get stuck. So I'm talking about affirmations and how powerful that is, but how there's sometimes steps that we skip. Now, I've written about this and I've taught about it, and it seems like lately in the last year or so, I've learned even more how to be even more accurate and to get the results we truly desire. It's fascinating to me. But what I want to do is share this experience, aha, that I had, and I received an email from a gentleman who is brilliant in helping people reach their full capacity in their business. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs who go into six, seven figures in their earnings because of his mentorship and training. He's truly brilliant. And he's soul derived. He's compassionate. He's not all about, material and money, but because of the connections with understanding that internal part of us and the spirit and all of that, he's able to really help teach everything. But I saw there was a step that he could be including, and well, it's my expertise. So what he teaches as part of manifestation is a little part of all of how he teaches everyone, and it's really quite brilliant. So he has something called the three-part manifestation formula. By the way, his name is Ron Reich, Reich, if you want to look him up. And he talks about this three parts because he struggled with it himself. And he was writing an email about how he found the love of his life as he'd been struggling in that. He was doing everything else so amazingly brilliant. And that was the one part that he truly yearned for and was missing. So, anyway, it's the idea of this three-part manifestation formula that really works every time if you use it. So the first element of it is be clear. Create clear, compelling visions that you're committed to. So when you think about your ideal wife and what it is you truly desire, what are you yearning for? Get that vision of what that is. I always tell everybody just imagine your perfect day, but it's your perfect average day. It's not like you're on vacation or you won the lottery. This is an average day that you would just love to be living. Where are you? What does it look like? What does your home look like? Who's with you? Who's around you? Who are your friends? What are you doing? All of it. Really imagine everything. Bring it into a vivid picture. And all of us aren't visual. It's a feeling, it's a knowing, but get that there, down to the car, whether you love to hike and you're in an area like that, or you're really a city person, any of that. Where in the world are you? And how many homes do you have, right? Just do all of it. Feel into the health and wellness, well-being, the prosperity, the money, the income, the relationships, the connections, all of it. Bring it all together. Create this really vivid vision and be committed to it. Like, that's a big part. So his second element is called belief and faith, that creating it is possible. Do you believe this? Can you have all of it? Do you believe you deserve it? That's a big one. I've worked with a lot of people on that. And the step that I feel he is missing, because before I give you the third one, and he may talk about this when he's teaching it, How on earth do you get that faith? How do you believe that it's possible? Because we get stuck there and it's in our subconscious. It's something that we've brought with us. So, I call it misbeliefs. There are misbeliefs and even vows that we take on when we're children, from the womb all the way up to about age 12, 13. Most of them are cemented by the age 8, especially around money and health and all of that. But it's really fascinating, to really take a look at that, and how on earth do you break free of those beliefs? Some of us already have. We've sort of stepped away from some of the things we were raised with, but not all of it. There's still so much there. And how do we get unstuck and break through? So this is the part that I want to emphasize, but I'll give you the third piece, and it's number 3 is aligned action. Because yes, we can ask for spirit, the universe, God, the force, the higher power, all of that. We can ask and declare, but we must take a step towards it. And it truly is the absolute truth that when you take one step, God and the universe take 10 more. Spirit responds and shows you the next step and the next step, and it gets easier. But you do have to take the first one. And I've discovered for myself that when we kind of step away from some of this, it's like when you haven't been working out, maybe you got sick or you went on vacation or you did stuff and you haven't been doing your exercises, doing your routine. It's difficult to get back and do that first one again. So it's an ongoing practice, but you must take that first step. I find it's like that. I love to compare it to the Indiana Jones movie where he's on this precipice of this huge chasm, and there are people with him, of course. This is always like Indiana, what the heck are you doing? And he needs to get across. His father is on the other side. He's trapped somewhere, I guess. I don't remember the entire movie. Some of you Indiana Jones fans know exactly what I'm talking about. But he's right there on the edge, and he knows. And he's hearing this voice. He's hearing the spirit of his father and realizing that he has to trust. And he suddenly steps out, puts his foot over nothingness, deep, deep, deep. Nobody knows how deep it is. And when his foot comes down, bam, it lands on the step and it actually shoots out across. There is a narrow walkway to the other side. It's, miraculous, right? But that is how it happens. I have been witness to it and for myself and for many of the people that I have worked with. So just know that part. So back to number 2 with belief and faith that it is possible. You can say all the affirmations you want, and I always recommend that you do it in the present tense and you start with I am. I am prosperous. I am healthy, right? You do all of that. When you do that, what happens in your body? What do you feel? You get some sort of reaction. There's somewhere in your body like this gut feeling that says, I don't think so. Your subconscious isn't ready. It doesn't believe it. So this is where tapping comes in. As you know, I'm kind of the tapping queen among thousands. There are many of us around. But, sometimes my method is a variety. It's different. It's a hybrid. But you lean into what your true beliefs are. And you just can say, how does it feel? Do I believe this? Can I really have all of that? Can I live that way? Can I truly have that happiness? You do have to get into the feeling of what it would be like to have all of that. How would you feel if you were extremely successful and you were able to help others and you could enjoy life and you could feel fulfilled and peaceful and all of it? What would it be like? Get that there. But do I deserve it? Am I worthy of it? You will find there's some kind of pushback. Somewhere in your body, you'll get a reaction. So I want you to lean into that and tap on it. There are ways to do it with journaling, especially. And if you don't journal, please, I highly recommend grab a piece of paper, a notebook, a drawing pad. Start to doodle draw. It doesn't have to be words, but you can just start to play with that and freeform and see what happens. I believe I'm not worthy yet. Can add yet. I don't know that I can do this yet. You just kind of go there and see what happens. You can do it all with tapping. So if you're journaling, you can write everything out about how you feel and then read it back out loud or to yourself if you must, but tap while you're reading it. And there is a magic with, first of all, the pen to the paper, far better than keyboard. If you must use a keyboard or record it with voice, that's fine. It will also work, but there's magic between that pen or pencil, marker, whatever you've got, crayon, and the paper. And when you say things out loud, there's another connection that's absolutely miraculous. Add that tapping, and you will not believe what will happen because you're definitely connecting with your inner self, your lower self who doesn't believe that any of this can come true because people like us have to work too hard. We can't get there, whatever it is. And then that higher self that knows, your soul knows that, of course, it's possible, it's already there. So lean into all of that stuff and tap through it. And we can do a little bit of it for you. So I'm going to lean into it on my own a little bit because I've been working on some things and I'm just going to go there. And if you know me and you're familiar with some of the things I've presented to you, I don't always use the setup point and the setup statement. I can just dive right in because I tend to be, if we're really in a higher stress level, we want to just dive in and calm ourselves down because when we say this, um, there's a statement that a lot of tappers will teach you, and it's a lot about even though I'm highly stressed, I love and accept myself today. I just felt it in my solar plexus. It said, no, I don't believe you. So if you want to do a setup statement, you can switch the words and do what's really more believable and say, even though I'm truly stressed about this and I don't believe this yet, I'm open to seeing how I can. And I'm open to believing things. Or one of my favorites from Colette Baron Reed, who says, she doesn't have the tapping like I do, but it's like, I'm willing to believe it. Start there. So let's just dive in though and start at the eyebrow point with, I don't know about this. I truly want this side of the eye. Under eye, I would love to believe that I deserve this. Under nose, I would love to live that way. Chin, I would be so excited to earn that much. Collarbones. Oh my gosh, how really fun it would be to have all those people around me. underarms. I can picture exactly where I'd like to live, top of the head. But it makes me queasy thinking about it. I don't think I can get there. Eyebrow. But I am open to finding a way. Out of the eye. What if I truly could do this? Under eye. It would be so amazing, under nose, to have wealth and share it. Chin, to make a difference in others' lives. Collarbones. To be prosperous. Let's stay here. To be healthy and fit. To enjoy life. To feel fulfilled. To have loving relationships and connections. I'm just going to honor that I'm not there yet, but I am open to finding a way. And just take a breath and see how you feel. For me, it just sort of ramped up that feeling a little bit about, I don't know if I'm really ready yet, right? So just breathe into that and keep tapping. And if you don't have time right away, keep tapping for just a few more seconds or a minute and breathing to bring yourself into calm. There you go. And that's how it goes. And if you truly desire a particular abundance, because abundance means everything. Wealth means everything. It's not just money. So bring yourself into that full picture about how you can bring that in and you can live that true life that you are meant to live. The authentic you is meant to be joyous and prosperous. We have just put ourselves in this little block of inner turmoil about what we can and cannot do, what we are allowed to do. Because as we were raised and how we were educated, taught from our teachers, our churches, our guides in religion, our society around us, our extended families, our neighborhoods, all of it makes a difference with how we react to things and how we believe whether or not we can do things. And I've talked about this a lot, especially in my writing. And I'm writing my second book, and it's really coming up. But it's about how I took on the belief that I was too small and too weak because I had a physical size and shape. And uh, my mother, especially, drilled into me that that's was the case for me, and I felt sort of comfortable accepting it and believed it. And so I really wouldn't step out. I wouldn't try. I became an excellent observer, an excellent spectator, which really helped my listening skills and all of that. But it was difficult, and to go majority of my lifetime believing all of that. And it still comes up. I mean, it'll still catch me. And it's just, this is a process that we work with, but using tapping to clear your mind enough so that you can see the picture of what you want. And then you can do more and more journaling and tapping on what's my next step. And that's what I love about really getting into meditation and journaling. Meditation doesn't mean you have to have an empty mind. Journaling is meditation. Again, in my book, I give you several ways that you can journal and or that you can meditate, because you can meditate while you're walking. while you're dancing, while you're working out. It's really quite interesting because you know your mind travels while you're doing stuff. The shower, have you ever had those divine aha downloads while you're showering? Yes, you have. In fact, I've seen waterproof like markers that you can make notes while you're in the shower. So, it's all so powerful. And you can use tapping around aligned action when you're thinking about what it is that you really want to do. What are the steps that are aligned with getting you there? We know that the path is not straight. It's not level. It is ups and downs and curves. It can be detours. It can be forks in the road, which I've learned really a fork in the road is a lot about leaving what no longer serves behind. You have to let things, situations, and people and beliefs drop off and know that you're going in the right direction. Tapping is your way to keep yourself grounded because when we get in those spinning thoughts, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? Or, feeling guilty that you didn't do something, right? That's all there in your head. But as soon as you start to tap, and I just gravitate to collarbones all the time. I can walk around with a basket of laundry and still do that. And it immediately turns off what we call the fight, flight, freeze response and calms you down. So all of your thoughts are here. Everything else is out to your extremities. So you can fight or run or hide and, do what you need to do to survive. And we need that. It's part of us that survived since the dawn of mankind. Survival of the fittest, that's the part of us that needed to stay there because we need it for those things. But like a burning building, and oh my God, you see around the world fires and floods and wars. It, it's insane, right? So we need that. But when we have constant stress, which we all have now, it's 100%, everybody's got it, different levels. Some of us walk around with high stress levels all the time, but any level of stress that stays constant, day to day to day, it's chronic. It affects you in so many ways. It really affects your body. So when it's there, it's really difficult to deal with anything. And you can't think, remember, because everything's out here. So that chronic stuff, fight, flight, freeze, all of that does not work for emotions. It doesn't work for the bodily sensations that come along with us when we're stressed. All of those chronic things that you may experience in your body come from that stress. It doesn't mean you caused yourself to get sick. It's about the idea that we have stuffed so much down within us and we keep trying to go on day after day and we haven't had a chance to deal with these things. A lot of it's been there since we were very, very young. All of our younger selves are still there. I'm cramming in like a lot of different lessons in one session here, but I just really want you to feel into that because it is so potent. If you can learn this idea of stopping and pausing and tap and breathe, and all you need to do is say, oh, what is this about? I promise you something will happen. You will hear, you will feel, or you will see, you will sense something will come to you. And it might not make sense right away. And the biggest part of it is if you're stressed about it and you don't believe, like, oh man, I don't know, when I think about how much it would take to create that, that's too much. Oh my God. And you start to ramp yourself up in that anxiety. Tapping will bring you down so you can be rational. So you can bring in that part, because we're dealing with both our spiritual side, our soul, and our rational side. And all mixed up in there, that lower self that's been holding all of this stress for you is part of it. So I want you to lean into that, and just be open. Create that vision. And you can break it up into small visions. Like, first, I'd like to get this so that I can go here. Maybe you want more training, more education, more experience. You want that first. Make that your vision. Have the longer vision out there. You know how a lot of strategists will tell you to, make your vision small enough so they can be measured and accomplished, but also have that like 5-year plan or whatever. So you can really play with, if you're a logical person, you can do a lot of that. If you're more into, visualizing stuff, you can see it, you can feel it. Like I said, we're not all visual, but just create that first and say, yep, that's what I'm going for. In that email I got, it was all about this beautiful man wanting to find his soulmate, his life partner. And that's what he focused on. So you've got to zoom in on what that is. I am here because I realized and I was guided that I needed to choose one place to bring you messages and to bring you training and to bring you everything that I can share so that I can bring you to me. So this is it. Video on YouTube is part of my destiny, my dharma put together to bring you all of that. So I want to teach you more and more about how you can use tapping along with other um, energy methods and processes that I have that really work well to help us get to where we want to go. Whether you are working on physical things, like you want to be fit and lean and have longevity with your health, and maybe you're really into bodybuilding, for instance, you want to really focus on that. You can say all the affirmations, but you have to take the steps, right? So lean into that. But maybe in your physical, you are dealing with pain. Tapping absolutely works on pain. I've worked with several clients on that. And when we have pain, we have an illness, a disease that causes pain, or maybe it's just the disease itself that's causing the anxiety, but the pain it's like a big catch 22. The pain can ramp up the anxiety and the fear, and then the pain gets worse. So when we work on all of the emotions around the pain, we can soften and lessen the pain. If it's chronic pain, we can bring the acuteness of it down on a regular basis and make it manageable. And I've literally seen this woman was suffering from pain in her entire body. Portions of it were more acute, but it was really intense. And in one session, we were able to come down from that 10 to a 1. So I'm telling you it is possible. So where are you in this idea of affirmations? In your affirmations, is it something around your money, your prosperity, your legacy, your income, your business? Where is it? What do you want that to become? How do you want it to grow? Or where do you want to invest it, right? There's all sorts of things around that. That goes right back to how you feel about your health. Health and weight management. I tell you what, tapping again, but Money is in that same place. It's within that first chakra, the root chakra. It's all about safety and security. Well, how do we establish safety and security? In our world, it's a lot about money. So, and I'm going to go back to that weight for a second because around weight management, I've had a few people who were so stressed they couldn't eat and they were underweight and had eating issues, but lots of people who had weight issues and they kept gaining or they kind of hovered and couldn't lose the tapping. I have a whole certification on tapping for weight loss, and I work that into a lot of what I do. But think about that and what your vision is. It's not about that you need to be a specific weight or rail thin. It's about feeling good and confident in your body, being able to present yourself without feeling like you don't belong. I did a course on how to feel confident on camera. I'm going to get back to it and shorten it, make it a little bit easier to digest because it was during COVID and I've spent a lot of time on it. And so I'm going to, crunch it into some very basic, it's really pretty basic anyway, but um, there's a whole thing about feeling like you're not good enough, and enough. I'm not thin enough, pretty enough, good enough. I don't know enough, right? There's a lot of that there. Or you have that word that says, I'm too heavy, I'm too big, I'm too loud, I'm too quiet, I'm too. There's so much of it that's been drilled into us that we believe it, we accept it and we don't feel comfortable. So, are you comfortable with the thing that you really want, the life that you really want? Who would you need to become to live that life? Can you see yourself there? What do you need to leave behind? Trust me when I say this. The emotional freedom technique, EFT tapping, will help you do that, will help you break free of those limitations, those perceived limitations that you have about whether you are worthy and that you deserve the things that you are yearning for. So, taking the first step still involves, do I feel good enough? Am I worthy? I find that the action step, which, again, I write about, but it's all about the energy system that we're working with tapping is connected to the energy centers called chakras. And so the third energy center, chakra, right below your rib cage down to just above your navel, that solar plexus, that's the action. And we can get really knotted up in there. And it can often be from when maybe we were about 8 years old, 6, 7, 8. And maybe we were in a classroom and we were asked to read out loud and we stumbled, couldn't pronounce words, we had trouble spelling, or we were up at the board and we had to solve a math problem. Hello. Any of those kinds of things. We had to speak out loud, stand up, do those things. That is where our hesitation and our doubt comes from. We don't feel we can do it. And this is the part where people who have fear of public speaking, that's where that comes from, way back then. And when we can deal with that, when we can allow that part of us to have a voice and to get clear, oh my God, what can happen? And that's what all of this is about. We can dive in, we can find these blocks within us, and the inner child that's hanging out there, or, the shadow, the echo. There are lots of different names for it. But the idea of allowing this part of us to speak, to have a voice, it's there to protect us. It came on when we were young, and it tried many ways to protect us, to get our needs met. And often it had to try a few things. And when it got the one that worked the most, that's what it stuck with. That is why some of us, like me, stayed the good girl, quiet, behaved, all of that, while others had to yell and scream and fight, lots of different ways. So it's the idea that that part of us is still there and it gets triggered by something that is similar to what happened to us. It's not the same, it's similar, and it instantly gets triggered and it tells us that we need to take on that survival pattern, to do that thing that is fight, fight, fleas, or fawn, which is people pleasing, which is a lot of us can do. So just know that that's all there too, that when you can use tapping with me or on your own, you can break free. And I invite you to do that. Do some post-it notes all over the place, on your laptop, in your screensavers, in front of your refrigerator, your cupboards, in the drawers, on your bathroom mirror, wherever you want to do that. And it's one word, it just says tap. And remind yourself that you can do this. And it ties right in with the mirror work from Louise Hay, where you can look yourself in the mirror in the morning and look in your eyes and say, I love you. You can look at yourself and say, I love myself. If you add tapping to that and you walk around through your day, I love myself, I love my life, I love myself, I love my life. It begins to rearrange things. It rewires your brain, which is what affirmations are all about. So it can rewire your belief system and how you can manifest. We have this energy system within us that runs up from the soles of our feet, comes up from the energy of Mother Earth. There is a thing called grounding. It is absolutely true. The earth has so much power in it, all this energy. It comes up through us into our body, through our energy system, through all the chakras, up to our heart. And then from source, manifestation energy comes down through the crown, the third eye, through the throat, into the heart, where that mixes. We have empowerment and manifestation. This is how it happens. If you want to learn more, I'm here to teach you. Please keep coming. I want to map out some more that I can actually bring to you on a regular basis. Right now I'm just sort of free form. I have no notes except for the little bit from that email that I got, so I wouldn't lose my track. If you've watched me before, I get off on tangents, so I apologize if that's happened. If you haven't been to my website and downloaded the free taptorials on stress and anxiety, how to tap is part of it. So it's called Tapping for Stress and Anxiety, and that's the main video. But there are two little videos: what is tapping and how to tap. So if you want to learn or you want to refresh your memory, those are there. And the video on anxiety is where you can use any word. You can change that to anger, sadness, frustration, whatever it is. And, I teach you all of that. And within that also is the tapping graph where the points are. So you know how to do that. So please take care and do that so you have it. And you can, all of these videos, you don't have to watch once you know how. You can just stick those earbuds in and listen along, close your eyes and do that. Um, You can go to all the lives. I'm doing the daily tap there, where it's affirmational tapping with oracle cards. And, you tap in some calm for a few minutes. So I'll be showing you more. I've got some really cool stuff coming up at the end of August because September I'm going to do some celebration about the book because it has 11 awards. And I was remiss in doing that when I was writing it. And after it was published, I just really didn't do a lot of that promotion. I was diving more into helping all of you, doing a lot of one-on-ones, and writing the second book began. So now I'm just going to celebrate that and allow you to see a little bit more about what that's about. Please, I love it if you can like and comment. Tell me how this resonates for you. What is it that you're dealing with? What are your issues? What's keeping you up at night? I can create an entire tapping video around that for you. This was not a lot of tapping today. I just wanted to demonstrate, but we'll get into more and more of that as we go along. As I said before, when you're on YouTube, there are a lot of different tapping experts that are amazing. Mine is just different as well, and I'm actually creating it for you. So if you tell me what you need, it will be specifically designed for you. And know that when you share, and you can DM me if you want to be anonymous, but when you share, know that there are many people out there who are in the same boat. The situations, my mouth isn't working. Situation may be entirely different, but the emotions and the bodily sensations and the tapping can be absolutely the same. Know that you are not alone. You are not broken. I am here for you. You can do this, and I'm here for you. So know that. And as I always end the daily tapping into calm on the live, I'll end this one the same way to tell you that you are loved. I see your beauty and I see your light. Shine brightly.